wonders alike got the prettiest side for everyone to enjoy. Standing up close.
Today on part 2 of Yvonne Douglas's A Scandinavian Inspired Christmas, we're going to show you how to make a really cute craft called the Jultomten, and then we're going to make a delicious Swedish porridge. Plus, to keep our Jultomten happy, we're going to make some yummy gingerbread cookies, and we're also going to show you how to make some Glogg, which is mulled wine. All on the next Happy Cooking with Yvonne Douglas. So stay tuned.
Don't care of anything else. It's Christmas and some kind of love, my friend. I'll pray it will never end.
Here is a lonely old farm where everyone is sleeping. All but one. The tomten is awake. He lives in a corner of the hayloft and comes out at night when human beings are asleep. He is an old, old tomten who has seen the snow of many hundreds of winters. No one knows when he came to the farm. No one has ever seen him, but they know he is there. Sometimes when they wake up, they see the prints of his feet in the snow, but no one has seen the tomten. Welcome back to Happy Cooking with Yvonne Douglas. Today we're going to make this really cute craft called the tomten. In Sweden they call it the Jultomten, and in Norwegian they'll say the Nisa. This is a children's book by Astrid Lindgren, a picture book, and it's called the Tomten, and it kind of gives you an idea about where the tomten originated from. And he's this little elf-like creature that lives in a barn, and he takes care of all the animals. And so it's a really cute story. Astrid Lindgren is the author of Pippi Longstocking and some many other works. And so this is a really cute picture book that you can read with your kids as you create your very own Jultomten or tomte. All right, so let's get started. So the very first thing you're going to need, let's talk about our supplies. First of all, it's super important to have your warm beverage when you start making these crafts. So for the kids, you probably want to make some hot chocolate, but for us adults, we can have our Glogg, which is mulled wine, and just enjoy a really nice warm beverage as you're making this Christmas craft. You'll need hot glue guns, super important. You will need some socks. You're going to need some just plain white socks. Now the size is really up to you if you wanted to do a large one or a medium one or a small one even. But this is pretty much like a medium one, so you need a plain white sock. This is going to be basically for the body. And then you're going to need 2 chenille socks. You're also going to need some, this is called ribbon. This is like fur ribbon. And this is for your Santa's, I want to say Santa, but it's your tomten's beard. And so this is a really thick one. This is a little over 4 inches wide, and then this one is like 6.5 feet long. So I mean, you can get this and make a bunch. You can make a bunch of Jultomtens from it. But this is a real thick one. This is, like I said, it says 4.15 inches. So that's how thick this one is. But you can also purchase these thinner ones like this. This one, the width on this one is only 2 inches wide. So it really depends on your Jultomten, how you want to create him. All right, but I'm going to be using the 4.5. All right, so let's get started. Oh, another thing too, very important, that you need these poly pellets, weighted stuffing beads. Some people will use rice, but I kind of like using these weighted stuffing beads a lot better. I don't have to worry about anything with food or things like that. But this is really awesome to use for this project. And you'll need some clear rubber bands because when we make our cute Tomten's nose, I'm gonna show you how to do that. All right, and I believe, and scissors of course, and maybe a little embellishments for your Tomten, which I'll show you in just a second. All right, so let's get started. The very first thing I'm going to do is get my white sock and I'm going to fill it with some of these beads. Now how much? Well, you want to put a lot in because number one, you want your Jultomten to be kind of, well, you could have them skinny, but I like to make them a little chubby. Now you can use a funnel if you want. I'm just gonna quickly not use a funnel and just do it like this. Funnel would probably make it easier to do, but so notice how I'm smashing it down, really making it kind of plump. And you do not need all this excess on top. So probably where the heel is, you want to cut it. And that's where I'm gonna cut it right here. And with your rubber band, I'm gonna open up this package here. These are just some clear rubber craft bands. And I'm going to smash it down a little bit more and just tie a knot. I like to loop it around a few times just to make sure it's really secure. All right. Yeah, I think that's good. Look at that. All right. Now what you want to do is you have these chenille socks, and it's really up to you what you want to do. If you want the body to be white or if you want the hat to be white, or whatever color. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make the body red, and I'm going to place this inside my sock. And I don't want to cut anything yet. You will be cutting the sock, but I like to wait. So this is good, and I'm going to cut this. And once again, this is probably cut around the heel. All right. And you can leave it just like that. And that's going to be the body. All right. Then we want to bring it down some. You can have like a little layer coming down, it depends. Now we're gonna make the nose. And the nose is a little tricky, so you probably wanna pay close attention to this part. But you want to pull out, if you could see that, you're gonna pull out some of those beads in your sock, and you're gonna get your clear rubber band again, and you want to kind of go over it a few times, okay? And you definitely want to make sure you have a nice nose on yours, okay? Like, I'm looking at this nose right now, and I think it's too small. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna redo it, and you can just take the rubber band off, no big whoop. I'm actually gonna get another one, but you can use the same one. And I'm gonna pull more. I'm gonna pull more than what I pulled the first time, because I want this Tomten's nose to be really large. I think the larger the nose, the cuter it will look. And it's gonna look really good with the beard too. All right, so that's a better nose. Yes, I like how that looks. All right, so you can see that nose is a lot bigger than what I had before. So you get to play around with it some, all right? Now I'm going to make the hat. And the hat, what I like about this sock is that it's red at the bottom here, and you can see a little red at the heel. And that's exactly where I'm gonna cut it, right below the heel, just like that. And it's gonna wear a little hat. It looks really cute. I am gonna roll it up a couple of times, and you're gonna be using some hot glue to glue all the stuff down, but I'm just kind of like trying it out. Now you could have this, your hat kind of loose, okay, if you can see that. You can have your hat kind of loose, but I got these little cones, and these are craft cones. You can find at any craft store or online. And I'm gonna actually put that in there just so it gives it some form. So I think I'm ready for my hot glue now. So I played around with the body here. I played around with his a little red jacket and then the hat. So I feel good about what it's gonna look like. So you wanna get a hot glue gun. Make sure you have some glue sticks handy just in case you run out. And I'm going to start hot gluing the jacket. Okay, so I'm just gluing it onto the white sock, just like that. Just pick some spots, put some hot glue, looks good. For the little layer that folds over, I highly suggest you add some glue there too, just so it doesn't roll the other way, the opposite way. Okay, it's looking really, really cute. All right, now for the hat, I'm gonna add a little glue too on that fold, because remember we folded it up a little bit. So I wanna add a little hot glue there, little hot glue there. All right. Make sure you don't burn your hands. You know, it never fails. Every time I use hot glue, I always burn my fingers. But you know what? Then it wouldn't be a Christmas craft if you did not burn your fingers. All right, so I'm going to add some hot glue to my cone here. Just at the edges, a little bit inside. And I'm gonna put it right on top of my Jultomten right there. Okay, good. Now, his hat is going to go over the cone. But before I do that, I do want to do the beard. I'm going to do the beard next. The reason why I'm doing the beard yet, because the hat will come down over and I want to make sure it's kind of hiding the sides of the beard. So I'm going to get my fur ribbon here. And the length is really up to you. I like a really long beard. Now, one thing about the beard, I want it to come to a point at the end like that. So I'm just going to trim off, and I like to work from the back here. So I'm just going to trim off some of the ribbon. And you do want to try to make it symmetrical the best you can. You could fold it in the middle if you wanted to and kind of like cut it that way. But I just eyeballed it. Looks pretty good. And the length, yeah, I want it to be long, so I'm going to kind of cut it right over here. It's better to start out a little longer than not. Now you will have some of this fuzz here, so what I like to do is I like just take some of that fuzz off on top just a little bit, whatever comes off my fingers. And have a little warm beverage. That's good. And I'm going to place it right underneath the nose of my Jultomten. Now you can make a mustache. You could go all out if you want, but I find just doing the beard is really enough. So now I'm going to add my hot glue to my beard. I'm going to lift the nose up, and I want to place the beard as high as I can just like, I know it's kind of hard to see on the camera, but this is how it's looking so far. But you want to go back, and I'm going to add just a little bit more glue over here. And if you find that you can see your jacket behind the beard. You might want to do a little mustache, but this is working out really great, so I don't need to do that. All right, I'm ready for almost my last step, and which is adding my hat here. So I'm going to put my hat on, just like that. Looking really, really cute. Oh my gosh, I just love how that looks. All right. And I'm going to, again, use my hot glue. I'm needing another glue stick, I could tell. All right, this is looking really, really cute. I just love how that looks. I'm gonna bring this down just a little bit. And you can give these as gifts. You can make it for your house, your home decor, especially if you're doing a Scandinavian theme. And they're all over the place. I was at Home Goods and Target, and I've seen so many of these, so they're really kind of getting popular. So it's just happened to work out great. All right, so there's my Jultomten. Now there he is. Looks pretty cute, doesn't he? All right, now you can embellish it with, maybe you want to add a bell or something like that. I have a bell here. I might put a bell on. I have these other little, this one looks like a little present. I like this one. And so I'm gonna add a little embellishment here. Once again, hot glue gun. Hot glue guns are your friend. And just add it to the side. Take a little bit off. All right. And there you go. There is your Jultomten. And he is ready to guard the farm animals for Christmas time and take care of the farm and also bring some presents. So hopefully you enjoy that craft, and God jul.
It's Christmas, and outside snow's glistening.
So today we're going to make some Swedish porridge. We're going to satisfy our Jultomten's appetite. And the tradition is, in America we leave out cookies for Santa Claus. Well, in Sweden they leave out a bowl of porridge, Swedish porridge, for the Jultomten. So he can be super, super happy. And if you want to make him really happy, you're going to add some butter on top with some cinnamon. Oh, he's going to be ecstatic. So I'm going to show you how to make some Swedish porridge today, so stay tuned. Okay, so I'm using 1 cup of jasmine rice, and I put 1.5 cups of water. And what you want to do is bring that to a soft boil. And we're also going to add 1 tablespoon of butter and 1 cinnamon stick. So it's a soft boil right now, and I'm going to add my 1 tablespoon of butter. And let me get my cinnamon stick. Use my cinnamon stick here. I just love cinnamon. And I'm going to reduce the heat, add my cinnamon stick, and just let that cook until all the water has been absorbed. So stay tuned. Okay, I'm going to check on my rice. And it still looks like it needs to cook a little bit more. You want to make sure that the rice absorbs all the water. I am going to add a pinch of salt. And give it another good stir. Okay, so I'm going to check on my rice. And I can see that it has absorbed, the rice has absorbed the water. And so now what we want to do is we're going to add some really yummy stuff to it. We're going to add a teaspoon of vanilla extract. We're going to add a teaspoon of almond extract. smells so good. We're gonna add 1 cup of heavy whipping cream. And 1 cup of milk. We're adding 1/4 cup of sugar. And then we're just gonna stir that together. Okay, so my Swedish porridge is it's kind of at a soft boil right now. So I'm going to reduce this all the way, give it a good stir, and then what I want to do is I'm going to cover it and let this cook for 30 to 40 minutes, and we'll be back. But wait, there's a tradition in Sweden that you place an almond in the porridge. Let me give that a good stir. And if it's a child that finds the porridge in their plate, then they receive a Glücksschwein, or a good luck pig. This is a marzipan pig. It's edible. I love marzipan, it's so good. A child would receive that. And if it's a teenager or a young adult, that means they're the next one to get married. So I wonder who's gonna receive the almond in this porridge. Okay, so my Swedish porridge is finished. Oh, it smells so good. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna put some cinnamon and some sugar mix in it. Just sprinkle it on top. Just like that. And look how pretty that looks. And then we're gonna add some softened butter on top. So this way our Jultomten will be super happy. So we're gonna leave this out and let's see if he comes. Shh.
With you, choirs will sing and the joy bells will ring.
Okay, so let's get started. So let's talk about the ingredients that you're gonna make to make our delicious gingerbread cookies. First of all, you're gonna need 1 egg. You're gonna need 2 3/4 cups of flour. You're gonna need 2/3 cups of molasses. This is Grandma's original molasses here. 1/3 cup of light brown sugar. 1/3 cup of butter. You're going to need 1 teaspoon ground ginger, 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. You're also going to need 2 teaspoons of orange zest. So if you have a zester like this, that would be great. You can just zest your orange like that, or sometimes I even like to use this grater here. I think the grater sometimes works a little bit better than my zester. So remember, you need 2 teaspoons of orange zest. I just love the way orange smells. Yum. All right, so that's going to be the dough, and then we're going to make the icing. So stay tuned for that. Okay, so we're going to add all our ingredients for the dough into our bowl here. You need a large bowl. I'm using my KitchenAid blender to help me out. So I have my 1/3 cup of softened butter in the bowl already. I'm going to add my 1/3 cup of brown sugar. This is light brown sugar. You're going to add your egg. And then you're going to add 2/3 cup of molasses. This is Grandma's original molasses. Wow. Just love how that smells. It's so gingerbreadish. Gonna add 2/3 cup. All right. Let me kind of get a knife here, make sure I get all that molasses out. orange zest now. This is 2 teaspoons of orange zest. Okay, so after all that has been added to your bowl, we're going to put on our mixer at a medium speed. What you want to do is scrape the bowl often. I'm going to stop here and kind of just scrape it a little bit. So I'm going to lift this up. I'm going to need a half a teaspoon of salt. I'm going to need a half a teaspoon of baking soda. I'm going to need 1 teaspoon of ground ginger. And I'm going to mix that up, and then I'm going to add my flour. Now let me add my flour. And when I add my flour, I just like to add it a little bit at a time. So I probably get about 4 tablespoons at first. Turn it on. Now this is on a low too. I'm going to scrape the sides a little bit. Going to continue adding some more flour. So I'm going to do another 4. Going to lift this up, add the rest of my flour here. And I'm going to scrape the bowl one more time. It already smells so gingerbreadish. Is that a word? Probably not. All right. Definitely smells like Christmas. I'm going to take the dough out. I like to use my fingers here. Make sure your hands are, you always wash your hands when you're using food or you're baking or cooking. I wash my hands all the time. Must have the cleanest hands in town. All right, so here it is. So here's my dough. You want to pack it all together. And then what I like to do is I'm going to get some handy wrap or plastic wrap, and I'm going to put it in the refrigerator for about 2 hours. While your dough is setting in the refrigerator, this would be a great time to write out some of those Christmas cards. I feel like with technology today, handwritten Christmas cards are kind of going out the window. Well, I hope it never does. I think it's a wonderful, beautiful touch to send somebody a handwritten card, just expressing how you feel about them or that you're thinking about them during this wonderful time of year. Okay, so we're back. So we're going to make our gingerbread cookies, and this has been in the refrigerator for approximately 2 hours. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut my dough in half, and I'm going to work with half of it at a time. So I'm going to put this half in the refrigerator, and I'm going to work with that half. Okay, so what you want to do, you want to get a board and flour your surface. And I have a bunch of different cookie cutters. I have the snowman, a snowflake, a star. Of course, you got to have a gingerbread cookie of a man, gingerbread man or gingerbread girl, and then a candy cane. So those are the ones that I'm going to make. So I want to roll my dough. Make sure that your surface is floured. And I like my cookies to be a little on the thinner side. So it's probably about maybe 1/8 of an inch thick. Yeah, that feels right. Okay, so I want to get my cookie cutters. I'm going to start with my gingerbread man. If he can't do it, no one can. Make a few of those. Now with my baking sheets, I like to use Silpat. And this way you don't have to grease your baking sheets or anything like that. So I'm gonna get my gingerbread men, place them on my cookie sheet, make sure they're spaced a little bit apart. And I'm going to continue using my cutter. I think my next one I'm gonna do a star. Okay, so you want to put on your oven at 375 degrees, preheat it to 375 degrees, and you want to bake these for approximately 8 to 10 minutes. So stay tuned. Okay, so we're going to take the cookies out of the oven, and what you want to do is get a cooling rack, something like this, so you can lay your cookies on. And you also need a spatula to take the cookies off. So let me check to see if they're done. Yep, I think they are done. I think it has maybe 1 more minute, and then we're gonna take it out of the oven. So now you want to transfer them onto your cooling rack. Use a spatula. Oh, I just love how they look. They turned out really, really nice. And I'm going to work on my second batch, but my second batch, I think I'm gonna focus on the tomtes, the Jultomten, and stars, and I think a Christmas tree. I didn't do a Christmas tree, so I think I'm gonna make some of those. All right, so when we come back, we're gonna start icing those cookies. Okay, so now it's time for the frosting. And what we're gonna do to make our frosting, you need a small bowl like this, and we're gonna use approximately 4 cups of powdered sugar. So let me get my 4 cups of powdered sugar. 1, 2, try not to get it all over the place. 3, and I'm going to do 4. Okay, this is my 4 cups of powdered sugar. And you're also going to need a 1/2 cup of room temperature butter. Super important that the butter is room temperature. This one couldn't get any more room temperature than that. And that's a 1/2 cup. So these are these little 1/4 cup sections. So you know that 1/4 plus 1/4 equals a 1/2. All right. So we got that. Now we're gonna add 2 teaspoons of vanilla. We got 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. So this is my teaspoon, got 1 and 2. I also have, this is approximately a teaspoon of lemon zest. Let me get my spoon here. Now this lemon zest, I actually incorporated just a little bit of orange zest in it too, so you can make it just with the lemon, okay? And we need milk. We're gonna need 3 tablespoons of milk. Now with the milk, I'm just gonna add in probably about 1 tablespoon at first. And then I'm gonna add the other 2 because I wanna mix it first. All right, so let me mix it over here. My mixer doesn't reach. We're going to need 3 tablespoons of light corn syrup. So this is 1. 2. And 3. Put this back on. I'm going to add a little bit more milk. Remember it was about 3 tablespoons. So before I added 1, I'm adding in the 2 right now. looks good. Let me see. Oh my gosh, that was so good. Oh, I can taste that lemon and that orange. Perfect, yes. As Oprah would say, success. Okay, now it's time to make our icing. So, or I should say our different colors. So we're definitely gonna need white. I'm looking at my cookies here. And I have a Christmas tree. So Christmas tree, I'm gonna have maybe some green. Maybe I want some white, like it has snow on it. So definitely some green, white. The tomte, the Jultomten, his hat I know is gonna be red, so I'm gonna need some red. And I think those are the main colors, just your traditional white, red, and green. I might add a little blue for the snowman's scarf or something like that. So we're going to use, I'm gonna use these little tiny cups, and I'm gonna separate some of this icing. Now, for instance, the snowman scarf, I'm only gonna use a little bit of. So let me just take a little bit of this icing here and put it in this little bowl. And I'm gonna put some of this white into this little cup here, these little ramekins, and put it right there. And then I'm probably going to use a lot of white, so I'm gonna leave the white, of course, in the bowl. The green, maybe I'll put this one for the green, all right? Let me see, I have just a little bit extra, I'll put it over here. So what I like to do is separate my icings, and then I'm gonna add my food coloring to it. And when we come back, we're gonna start icing those cookies, so stay tuned. Okay, so you can use a pastry bag. They sell these little kits. You can buy them at the store. There's some reusable bags and stuff. But sometimes some of you might know this trick, but I like to use these little Ziploc bags. It's just so easy. And I'm gonna first put my white in my Ziploc bag because I'm going to flood every cookie with white. That's gonna be the base to all my cookies here. And then at the tip, you want to snip just a little piece off at the very tip there. And then I'm gonna start flooding my cookies, all right? So I'm gonna kind of squeeze my bag. And the way you flood a cookie is to first outline it. And then you wanna fill in the rest. Now just embellishing my cookies. I'm adding some white sprinkles to my stars so they stand out and they look really, really pretty and fun and festive. I'm making a huge mess over here. And I'm gonna put some white sprinkles on my snowflake cookies, just like that. Got some more stars here. And I think I am done. I think they turned out really, really cute. I think that Tomte is gonna love our gingerbread cookies and will keep him satisfied.
I pray it will never end. Do you like to be here
Okay, well now that we know our Tomten's gonna be happy with his Swedish porridge, now for us adults we can make some glögg. And glögg is mulled wine. So I'm gonna show you my recipe and I'm telling you, it's gonna be so good. So let's get started. All right, the very first thing we need is a large pot. So you're gonna need a very large pot. We're gonna use 1 cup of spiced rum. That's what I like to use. I like to use spiced rum. So I'm gonna put 1 cup of spiced rum in here. I'm going to put 1 cup of whiskey. Now the brands is really up to you. You don't really have to buy anything too expensive, but it's all gonna taste so good when it's made. All right, so I got 1 cup of whiskey, and then you want to use two cups of port. All right, and then I'm going to put this on a medium heat. Now we're going to get some cheesecloth, and I'm going to use 1 cinnamon stick. I'm gonna also get 2 cloves and place it in my cheesecloth. I have 2 cardamom pods that I need to crack, so I'm gonna crack them really quick. And basically the way I do it is I just kind of smash it with a knife. Okay, what I'm also going to add to my cheesecloth is some orange peel. So you probably want to do 1 long strip, or I just did 3 little peels here. And then you're going to fold it. And I like to give it a twist. And then we're going to get our string and we're just going to tie it. Just like that. And that's all it is. And then we're going to add it to our booze mixture. So I just lit the Glogg, and I'm going to put a lid on it to take the flame away. And I also added, while it was lit, I added some sugar to it. So there we go. Woo! Now we got to let that cool. Now we let it burn for approximately 1 minute, so keep that in mind. And the sugar was in there. And now we're going to let this cool. And we're going to add the rest of the ingredients to make our Glogg. Okay, so it's been approximately 10 minutes and we're going to add the rest of our ingredients to our Glogg. All right, so what they are, you need 1/4 of orange juice. So you can put 1/4 of orange juice in the mixture. You're also going to add, I'm going to put 1 tablespoon of lemon juice from a real lemon. Okay. Then you want to add you're going to add your cheesecloth. And don't forget the cheesecloth had cardamom, 2 cardamom pods that were smashed, crushed. And you also added 2 cloves and 1 cinnamon stick and an orange peel. Okay, we're also going to add some slivered almonds, just a little bit. And we're going to add some black raisins, or dark raisins, I should say. Just a few. And then also some golden raisins. Or they're going to combine, they're going to mix together. And I'm going to put the lid on it for a little bit. And don't forget, the heat is off right now. So I'm just going to put the lid on and I'm going to let that sit probably for close to an hour. And then we're going to strain it and then try our Glogg. So my Glogg is warmed up. I'm adding it to my cup. And now let me taste my Glogg. Oh, wow. Wow, that's good. You can garnish it with some more raisins or some almonds, but I'm telling you, this is really good. God Yule, everyone. Merry Christmas.
And it's Christmas.